The transmission began without warning, cutting through every broadcast, device, and interstellar communication network. Across Earth, screens flickered to static before resolving into a black void. The voice that followed was emotionless, mechanical, yet oddly commanding. "You, who call yourselves humanity, we have been observing." For a moment, silence reigned. Then the voice continued, measured and deliberate. "Your strength is an anomaly. Your tenacity, unmatched. Your potential, a threat. Heed this warning. You have reached the precipice of existence. Beyond lies your undoing." The message cut off abruptly, leaving no signature, no trace of origin. Across Earth, chaos erupted. In the heart of London, traffic ground to a halt as drivers stared at their screens, trying to process the cryptic warning. In Beijing, debates in crowded cafes turned heated, while New York saw its stock market plummet in minutes. The United Nations convened within hours. Presidents, prime ministers, and leaders from every corner of the globe sat in grim silence as the broadcast was replayed. Speculations abounded. Was it an alien threat? A rogue AI from one of humanity's own colonies? Or perhaps, as some feared, the prelude to an invasion? Amid the clamor of uncertainty, Dr. Elena Moreau stood apart. The renowned xenolinguist was silent, her sharp eyes fixed on the playback. Something about the cadence of the words, the deliberate pauses, suggested a deeper meaning. She requested access to the raw data, determined to find what others might have missed. But Elena wasn't the only one working against the clock. Across the globe, fear took root. The facelessness of the threat made it all the more terrifying. Was this the opening move of a hostile alien force, or simply a warning from a distant observer? The ambiguity stoked humanity's most primal instincts, fear and anger. As the days stretched into weeks, paranoia spread like wildfire. Governments issued emergency decrees. Military forces were placed on high alert. Satellites scoured the skies for any anomalies. News anchors spoke in hushed tones, speculating endlessly about the broadcast's origin. In a private meeting at the Pentagon, Elena presented her findings to a room full of generals and scientists. "There's a pattern in the syntax," she explained, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "It's not just a warning, it's a challenge. The repetition of certain phrases suggests they're testing our response." The room fell silent as her words sank in. One of the generals, a grizzled veteran of countless campaigns, leaned forward. "If this is a test," he said grimly, "we can't afford to fail." The broadcast had not only awakened fear but something far more dangerous: humanity's pride. Refusal to be cowed, refusal to be underestimated. It was a defiance woven into the very fabric of the species. As Elena left the meeting, she couldn't shake the feeling that the broadcast wasn't merely a message. It was a mirror, reflecting humanity's darkest possibilities. And the world, now on edge, seemed all too willing to embrace them. The fleet departed in silence, the engines of humanity's finest warships humming with restrained power. Earth watched as its champions disappeared into the void, the tension palpable across continents. Families held vigils, politicians issued rousing speeches, and the world waited. The destination, a set of coordinates embedded in the transmission, a star system in uncharted space. On board the Resolute, the atmosphere was tense. Soldiers, engineers, and scientists worked tirelessly, their movements purposeful but weighted. Everyone knew the stakes. This wasn't just a mission of defense. It was a confrontation, a chance to prove that humanity would not bow to threats, faceless or otherwise. Elena stood in the observation deck, gazing at the stars. Despite the urgency of their mission, her mind was consumed by questions. Who had sent the broadcast and why? Was it an enemy testing humanity's mettle, or something far more complex? Every time she examined the message, she found new layers, subtle hints of intelligence far beyond their own. The journey to the coordinates wasn't without incident. Midway through, the fleet encountered a drifting alien vessel, a derelict, its hull scarred and lifeless. Initial scans revealed it belonged to a species humanity had never encountered. The ship's databanks were corrupted, but fragments of a distress call were deciphered. It spoke of a warning, eerily similar to humanity's broadcast. The discovery sent a ripple through the fleet. If the same message had reached other species, what had happened to them? The implications were chilling. Elena pressed the fleet's leadership to study the wreckage further, but the priority remained the mission. Time was critical, and the fleet moved on, leaving the mystery behind. As they neared the coordinates, tensions rose. The soldiers prepared for battle, their weapons gleaming under artificial light. Pilots ran drills, while engineers triple-checked systems. But the scientists aboard, including Elena, grew quieter. The closer they came to their destination, the more certain they were that the true enemy wasn't something they could fight with guns or missiles. The coordinates led to an unremarkable star system, its center dominated by a faintly glowing red dwarf. Orbiting the star was a massive, ancient structure, an artificial construct the size of a small moon. Its surface was smooth and featureless, save for a single pulsating light emitting the faint remnants of the broadcast. The Resolute approached cautiously. Scans revealed no signs of life, no defensive systems, and no energy signatures beyond the pulsating beacon. It was a relic, impossibly old, its purpose shrouded in mystery. A boarding party was assembled, and Elena insisted on joining them. Inside the structure, they found vast, empty halls and walls etched with symbols. The language was unfamiliar, but carried a haunting precision. Elena worked quickly, deciphering the symbols. They spoke of a test, a psychological experiment designed to assess a species' response to existential fear. Those who succumbed to paranoia and violence would be deemed unworthy of further existence. The realization hit Elena like a blow. The broadcast wasn't a threat but a mirror, reflecting humanity's potential for destruction. And they had answered with wrath.